He was staring out over the waters, lost in thought, when she softly asked him, "What are you thinking?" "I was thinking about going down and checking out that bomb for myself." He looked up at her. 200 feet, you said." Without waiting for her answer, he reached for the wetsuit he'd set aside and started to peel down. AEquana stared at him in shock. "You're serious, aren't you?" "It wouldn't hurt to check. Make sure the thing's not going to blow up under our butts." Thank God someone had had the sense to pack a full-length suit, including gloves and hood, although Talon opted to forego them this time around. "Was your checking it on part of the instructions?" she asked. Talon looked up to see her eyeing him with undisguised astonishment. "The Navy has a bomb. They lost the bomb but didn't tell anybody. Now they want us to find it for them, but they don't want us to recover it ourselves. You said you managed to drag it back here, so I'm assuming it's not very large." "About 3-4 feet long," she told him. "With that bullet-shaped nose, it was easy to wrap my arms around it and pull it along." He snapped on the straps holding the air tank. "Yeah, but the question remains, why couldn't we recover it? We have the means to get back inside the 3-mile limit. If nothing else, you could tow us back. So why are we having to wait until the cover of night for them to come back for us and it?" After checking the air hose, Talon spit into his mask and rubbed the saliva into the glass underwater before pulling it over his head. "Coming with me?" he asked, grabbing the buoy rope and falling backwards into the waves. A moment after he cleared the raft, AEquana dove in with him. Talon allowed himself the momentary luxury of watching how her gills opened and closed like tiny dancers gracefully moving in unison. Her mouth remained shut, making him believe she was breathing through her nose. One day, he told himself, he would get the whole scientific explanation of how she was able to do what she could do. He started downward, following her lead. This close to her, he was amazed at how lithe she was, how she seemed to bend like oil in water. Talon knew he was a good diver, but she was swimming rings around him with little effort. Once she paused, and her ponytail spread out behind her head like a white, lacy halo. As she'd told him, the bomb was directly below the surface where the raft waited. Once they got within a dozen feet of it, Talon motioned for her to remain where she was. Inwardly, he cursed himself for forgetting to bring along the underwater slate he'd packed. Once he was certain she would remain where he told her to, he proceeded over to check out the slender cylinder. A quick glance told him it was a standard-issue underwater jet-propelled torpedo used by submarines. Nothing fancy, nothing out of the usual. The Navy had used them for years during war games. It had a basic explosive charge embedded in the head, but unless its trigger was set by the gunner on board the sub, it wouldn't go off. Talon rolled the bomb over to check out the little window in the nose, just to be on the safe side. The light inside should be green. Every nerve in his body turned ice cold. Before he was aware of it, years of training and reflex took over. Talon began racing away, keeping along the bottom of the shelf. He pushed himself, swimming as fast as he could, and soon AEquana had joined him, casually keeping up with his frantic pace. Her face mirrored her question and worry. Talon threw an arm forward in a sign he hoped she'd interpret as his urgent need for them to run. She cast a glance backwards when it dawned on her. Grabbing one of his hands, she squeezed it tightly and literally began to drag him through the water at a rate of speed he couldn't even begin to comprehend. Dimly, he held up his other hand and felt it being snatched when she took it as well. Now they were flying through the water. Her body was pumping faster than he believed was humanly possible as she pulled him along under and behind her. 1 minute passed, then 2. Before the end of the 3rd minute, the world around them exploded in a thunderous roar of pressure and inescapable fury. Talon felt himself being lifted as the cataclysmic tidal wave slammed into them like a concrete wall. Somehow he managed to hold on to AEquana's hands as she was thrown over his head. The backwash hit them, lifting them upward, and Talon realized he was going to lose consciousness. There hadn't been enough time for him to acclimate to the lower pressure, and without a doubt he knew every blood vessel in his body would burst from nitrogen overload before he reached the surface. Closing his eyes, John Eagle Talon waited for the bends to send him over the edge.